Hi, friends. Welcome to the preview of the Wimbledon finals between Djokovic and Kyrgios. Now, it's a mouth-watering prospect. There is a history between these players, contrasting styles of play. So, very quickly, we'll try to discuss the head-to-head record, their current form at Wimbledon, their road to the finals, also the key strategies, the key tactics, and the key factors in this match. And also, we'll try to predict an outcome. So, let's get started. So if we talk about the head to head, now a lot of people are not aware, but Kyrgios actually has a winning head to head record against Djokovic. Now they haven't played much, they have only played twice, and both of those matches were in the same year between a span of a few months in 2017. Now we all know that Djokovic didn't have a particularly good year in 2017. He played the first half of the year, but then in the second half of the year towards Wimbledon, he got injured, and then he was obviously out for a lot, for a long time. But having said that, these two matches both were on hard courts, which is Djokovic's best surface, and Djokovic was playing really well. It's not like Djokovic wasn't playing well, but still Kyrgios was able to get these two victories under his belt. And if you see, even though Djokovic hasn't taken a set of Nick Kyrgios. I mean, one could say that, but still, I think those sets were close. So the important factor here is that Djokovic's best surface is hardwood, and even then, Nick Kyrgios was able to beat Djokovic. And if you see the matches, it was not all out attack from Kyrgios. He was happy to hang around in the rallies in those matches. He was using his slice a lot, playing with Djokovic, and then when he got a chance, he was also able to hit winners and dictate play. Now, because Kyrgios also has a lot of variety in his game, if you watch his Wimbledon match against Nadal in 2014, where he was able to beat Nadal, he was playing really aggressive. He was going for his shots, and Wimbledon is a gives a kind of a surface which is grass. It actually helps Kyrgios's game more. So, having looked at these results, I think Nick Kyrgios has a better chance this time around because his serve would be really effective on grass. And even though Novak Djokovic is a great returner, he's the best returner in the game. Still, I think if somebody is serving greater than 135 miles an hour, it's not an easy uh, thing to deal with. So I think it's going to be more chances for Kyrgios with regards to the surface. And if we talk about the road to the finals for Djokovic, I mean his draw looked quite not too uh, daunting, to be honest, when we first looked at it. But I think Jannik Sinner, I think he performed to his potential. He played the match of his life for the first couple of sets. It clearly looked like Djokovic was going to lose, and even I didn't believe that he would be making a comeback. Commentators were trying to say that yeah, the comeback has begun when he won the third set, but still, I think the way he was able to come back in the end, he was really calm and focused. So what I feel is, if I want to talk about it skeptically, what I would say is, uh, he's not starting the matches well. Now that is a point where Kyrgios needs to capitalize, because even if you see his match against Nori, against Sinner, he takes some time to start off. He's missing a few shots, whether it's the forehand or the backhand. He's missing a few drop shots here and there in the first couple of sets. But then after half an hour or 1 hour passes on, then I think Djokovic really settles down, and then he starts playing his best tennis. So if you are Nick Kyrgios and you want to beat Djokovic, I think Kyrgios has to make a great start to the match, serve well, and try to get the first set. First set will be really crucial for Kyrgios more so than Djokovic, because Djokovic has been in this situation a lot of times. Okay, and even in this tournament, he has been in this situation, so he knows how to deal with that pressure. In the finals, he won against Tsitsipas when he was 2 sets to love down. So I think he knows, and even against Thiem in the Australian Open, Novak Djokovic has been down a lot of times in the finals, but he finds a way to come back. So here, the first set is really crucial for Kyrgios. If Kyrgios loses the first set, then probably there would be a lot of pressure on him, and he might, try to go all out. But it works sometimes, it doesn't work sometimes. So a lot of shots go in, but at the same time, a lot of errors, creep into your match. And I think Djokovic would be trying to bring that situation, so that he doesn't have to do much. He just has to play solid from the baseline, and then Kyrgios would make errors himself. So that is what Djokovic would be hoping for, and for that he would try to win the first set. I think that would be really crucial. Now, if we talk about road to finals for Kyrgios, Kyrgios actually had a tough route. So in the first round match, also he had a five setter. So I think two five setters he had to play, and then against Tsitsipas, I think that was a match where he really impressed. Now, that was there was a lot of controversy in that match, and both players had to say something about each other in the press conferences. But if you look at the match, I think Kyrgios handled himself pretty well. Even though what was happening in the court, he was like mostly the part of it, but still he didn't have it impact his game, and that is what matters. So even in this match against Djokovic, I think there would be a lot of this stuff, talking to himself or talking to the crowd, talking to the umpire, maybe commenting something on Djokovic. That could all happen in this match. But still, if Kyrgios is able to focus more on his game, I think he has a great chance. For Djokovic, I mean, he has seen adversity a lot of times. He knows the crowd might be on the side of Kyrgios, as it has always been. Whenever Djokovic plays, most of the times the crowd is against Djokovic. So maybe this time around they would try to lift Kyrgios, but he has to be prepared for that. I think Djokovic should play within himself, just focus on getting a good start. Then I think that would be a bit easier for him if he's able to settle down first. Now, if we talk about the current form, so like Kyrgios, I think has played better overall in terms of this tournament specifically. I think Djokovic has looked out of sorts at some moments, and even before this tournament in the French Open and before that, he doesn't look the same Djokovic that we are used to see. Of course, by the looks of the comebacks that he's making, obviously he's still the same Djokovic. But if you talk about the loose ends, if the way he starts the match, he misses a lot of shots which he never misses, which he never used to miss, right? So it clearly shows that he's not in his full form, and that is why I think Kyrgios, on the other hand, has played better overall. He has his best performance at a Grand Slam level this time, and he's confident. So I think overall he has played better. Now, in terms of fitness, uh, obviously, I think Djokovic is the fitter player, and even in this tournament, Djokovic didn't seem to have any major injuries, whereas Kyrgios has been seen, struggling. And in the past, also Kyrgios, you never know whether he would be able to compete with his full potential for the complete 7 matches. A lot of times, midway during the tournaments, Kyrgios gets injured. So that is why I say that Djokovic, as of now, is the fitter player. Now, I already mentioned that Djokovic has been out of sorts in the beginning of the matches, and he also looked uncomfortable in the movement. I think he was slipping a lot, maybe the surface because it has dried up now at Wimbledon. So definitely, it's not easier to move between the lines, and there are a few parts on the court where it is a bit difficult. So I think in that respect, Djokovic has been struggling a little bit. So this is the current form. Now let's talk about the key factors. So I think the Kyrgios serve, this is the top factor that will actually determine who is the winner. If Kyrgios is able to consistently serve and hit his spots, avoid double faults, right? I think it's going to be really difficult for Djokovic to win this match because Kyrgios plays well under pressure, and I'll discuss that point also. But I think Kyrgios' serve is the key factor here. Of course, that goes with Djokovic's return of serve. But even if I think if Kyrgios is serving really well and Djokovic is returning well, I would still give more chances to Kyrgios because I think his serve is really good, and on grass it's really difficult to defend against it, even if you're Novak Djokovic. And even if Djokovic is able to return, if Kyrgios decides to serve and volley, come to the net more often, that would really reap benefits for Kyrgios. The Djokovic's form on forehand, that is a key factor because we have seen in the past few matches that his forehand was not working well, especially in the first couple of sets. He is struggling to find form, whether it's an off forehand or a down the line forehand. So it really depends on how he starts today. But that is something where Kyrgios might try to go more often because Djokovic's backhand is usually pretty solid. So maybe Kyrgios needs to target Djokovic's forehand. And of course, Kyrgios's focus on the match. is definitely one of the key factors. No matter how good Kyrgios serves or how well he plays, we have seen time and time again that he loses focus between the match, within the match. He starts talking with the people. Sometimes it's positive, but most of the times we have seen that it's negative, and it actually impacts Kyrgios in a negative way. So it has to be seen how he deals with that, how his focus is to in this match. Now, talking about key strategies for Kyrgios. So, serve and volley, because his serve is his greatest weapon, I think he should try to come for serve and volley much more. Try to give it a shot, maybe once in every game, and also try to come up more on the net in general. Even when he's playing from the baseline, if he gets a short ball, he can be aggressive and then try to come to the net, because Djokovic is also facing some problems in the movement because of the surface, because the surface is dried up. It actually gives more opportunity for Kyrgios to be at the net and avoid a perfect passing shot from Djokovic. So that's a good option for Kyrgios, the serve and volley. Be aggressive. Obviously, I think Djokovic would be hoping that Kyrgios plays a similar style of what Djokovic likes to play, maybe like Andy Murray, who plays consistent from the baseline but doesn't, uh, you know, be aggressive as much, which actually plays in favor of Djokovic, because Djokovic then can control when he wants to be aggressive, when he doesn't want to be aggressive. Rather than that, if Kyrgios is aggressive and is dictating the play, it will be really difficult for Djokovic to control, because first he has to deal with Kyrgios' serve, then he has to also deal with the aggressive shots from Kyrgios. So I think Kyrgios has to be aggressive. Use low backhand slice. Now, why I say this is Djokovic has seemed to struggle a little bit on the short and low balls. So I think if Kyrgios doesn't decide to be really aggressive, if he wants to continue the rally, he should probably try to hit a short and low backhand slice, so that it doesn't allow Djokovic to be aggressive himself. Plus, it actually breaks some sort of rhythm that has. Because if you just try to hit, baseline shots, ground strokes, then it plays in favor of Djokovic. But if you try to use some variety, like how Federer does, like use slice a lot, move from side to side, change the pace of the ball, that all would work for Kyrgios. And also engage the crowd in a good way. So we all know, and what I'm hoping is, probably I think the crowd is again going to be with Kyrgios, even though there are a lot of controversies that Kyrgios is part of, but still he is able to engage the crowd much more. So I would say, if he is able to do that in a good way, like in his favor, then I think that might work for him, because it will also frustrate Djokovic, who has most of the time seen the crowd go against him. And in the finals, if the crowd is with Kyrgios, I think that would help Kyrgios, but that would frustrate Djokovic. Okay, now let's talk about the strategies for Djokovic. What should he do? I think he has a lot of experience, first of all, so that should count for him. All he needs to do is he needs to start off well. That is really important, and it would be easier for Djokovic to start off well because of the huge experience that he has. So he has to make use of that. But if he plays like he played in the first couple of sets in the last two matches, then I think he would be making things really difficult for himself. So he has to start well. He has to focus on accurate passing shots, as there would be expectation that Kyrgios would be serving, really hard and trying to come to the net. So definitely Djokovic needs to focus on his passing shots. He also has to be aggressive from the baseline, because no matter what, I think Kyrgios is going to be aggressive. So Djokovic has to counter that. He can't be too defensive. We all know what happened against Wawrinka at the French Open in 2015, and also in some matches at the Australian Open. If Djokovic plays a bit more passive, if he doesn't try to attack, then I think it opens an opportunity for Kyrgios, because then at in on grass it's not easy to defend, even though you are Novak Djokovic. And also Djokovic needs to focus on his serve, because he knows what's coming from the other side, right? So he has to hit high percentage of serve. No, it's not required to hit a lot of aces, but a high percentage of first serve, so that then Djokovic can use his forehand or backhand to be aggressive and then finish the point at the net. So very important that he also focuses on his serve, because if he loses his serve, then there is a lot of pressure on Djokovic to break, because Kyrgios' serve is one of the best on tour.